After being let out of the tunnel, Henry was enjoying himself enormously. He occasionally had steaming troubles, but if he was well enough, he never missed a day. Gordon was in a more foul mood. He had recently returned from the works after his safety valve was repaired. He pulled his trains well, but he didn't smile as often as he usually did. Edward and Henry were concerned and curious as to why. But one evening, as they returned to the sheds, they soon found out. Gordon had gotten there before them, and he was grumbling. "It's completely disrespectful," he said. "Where do controllers think they can speak such a way to engines? Without us, they would have no trains to begin with." "Oh, what are you babbling on about now?" sighed Henry. Gordon huffed and finally explained. When the big engine broke down in front of the tunnel, the fat controller, who was on the train, stepped out and left a rather rude remark. "Huh," he had said, "I never liked these big engines, always going wrong." "That was the first time I've ever broken down like that, and he just shrugs off all big engines as failures." "I'm sure he didn't quite mean it like that," replied Edward. "He was just likely not in the best of moods. To be fair, the way Henry described it, it seemed like you were intentionally pushing yourself just to show off." "And even if I was," retorted Gordon, "it's simply unacceptable to generalize engines in such a way." Henry and Edward gave each other a thoughtful look. Even they had to admit that Gordon could have a point. Sometimes. The next day, Gordon's temper didn't improve. Whenever he saw the fat controller on the platform, he acted like he wasn't there. It was very fortunate that he didn't seem to notice. Regardless, he was always on time and gentle with his passengers. In his mind, if the fat controller really thought big engines always went wrong, he would certainly prove him otherwise. A few days later, Gordon was preparing to leave with the express. He noticed that the fat controller was about to step on board. "I'm meeting with another controller," he said. "I'm hoping to purchase one of their mixed traffic engines. Do your best to be on time, Gordon. Can't afford a delay today." With that, he entered the coach. Gordon felt he was about to burst with fury. "What does he think I've been doing the last few days?" he hissed. Soon, he pulled out of the station, quickly and smoothly as always, but not for the fat controller. Gordon sped down the main line and arrived at the other end of the line, right on time. Most of the passengers seemed satisfied, but the fat controller said nothing as he walked off to his meeting. Gordon was on the verge of snapping. "Calm down, Gordon," called his driver. "You keep this up, you'll end up doing something you'll regret." Gordon paid no attention. But the final straw didn't drop until later that afternoon. Gordon approached the big station with one of his return expresses. The fat controller was on board once again. Gordon assumed his meeting had gone well, as he seemed to be in a good mood. As he pulled alongside the platform, he spotted Henry on a siding, with his train standing nearby. "What's going on here?" demanded the fat controller. "Forgive me, sir," answered the station master, "but I think you can guess." They both watched Henry, coughing and wheezing, not making a single ounce of steam. "I've already called for Edward. He'll be here shortly." "Good," sighed the Fat Controller. "We can always rely on him." Then, in a quieter voice, he added, "I wish I could say the same for most big engines these days." Unfortunately, he wasn't quiet enough. Gordon had finally had it. Before his driver could stop him, he let out an almighty whoosh. Within seconds, the station vanished in a cloud of steam. When it finally settled, Gordon saw that everything was completely damp. Everyone was very surprised and cross. Soon, there was a never-ending string of complaints. The Fat Controller quickly rushed over to the passengers to calm them down, but not before turning to Gordon and saying, "I will deal with you later." Gordon didn't feel so confident anymore. Sure enough, that evening, the engines watched in shock as the Fat Controller stormed up to them. "Gordon, what do you think you were playing at? To lash out on the passengers like that is simply unacceptable. You better have a good reason for your actions today, or consider yourself to be out of service for a long time." Gordon was speechless. He was unable to say a word. But luckily, he didn't need to. "Excuse me, sir," said Edward, calmly. "I think I know why Gordon did what he did today. And, if you'll forgive me for saying so, sir, it revolves around you." The Fat Controller was stunned. "What do you mean, Edward?" Slowly, Edward explained what Gordon had said to him and Henry, about the remark he heard, and how it made him feel. The more the Fat Controller listened, the less he felt angry. "Is this true, Gordon?" Gordon found his voice. "Yes, sir. And what you said at the station after seeing Henry, well, that was when I had enough." "I'm not approving of Gordon's actions, sir," Edward added. "But it would be wrong to say there wasn't a understandable reason, if you take my meaning." "You are absolutely right, Edward," replied the Fat Controller. "Gordon, allow me to offer my sincere apology. After Henry stopped in the tunnel, and then you broke down, I suppose I just got fed up. But I should have known better." He looked from Gordon to Henry. "You may have your imperfections, but you have shown many times that you are very capable engines, and that shouldn't go unnoticed. I only wish you brought this up to me sooner. I may be your controller, but don't think that means I am unreachable." The engines completely understood. Life took a more positive turn after that. Gordon was a much happier engine, and knew he could be much more open with the Fat Controller on certain matters. Even if some of his complaints weren't entirely valid, like pulling trucks or shunting coaches. As for the Fat Controller himself, he took the lesson from that day to heart. He still can be strict, and will discipline the engines when needed. But he's well aware that they do work well, and without them, he would never have a proper railway to begin with. That is something he should never forget.